Yousafzai, tribute speech by Matthew Wood. The teenage girls chatted to each other as the school bus rattled along the country road. They had just finished a term paper, and their joy was evident as they broke into another Pashto song. About a mile outside the city of Mongolia, two men flagged down and boarded the bus, one of them pulling out a gun. "Which one of you is Malala Yousafzai?" he demanded. No one spoke, some out of loyalty, others out of fear. But unconsciously, their eyes turned to Malala. "That's the one," the gunman said, looking the 15-year-old girl in the face and pulling the trigger twice, shooting her in the head and the neck. The Taliban tried to silence Malala, but instead just strengthened her cause to fight. Strong, fearless, and courageous. These characteristics all describe one person, Malala Yousafzai. She is a 16-year-old student who has been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize as well as the National Youth Peace Prize. She stands up for the educational rights that the Taliban take away from Pakistani schoolgirls. I want to tell you about Malala's persistence and courage in standing up for the right to have an education, and about her fortitude in dealing with the horrific injury she suffered that day on the bus returning from school. Malala strongly believed in her right to education and defended that right while becoming a symbol of defiance in the eyes of the Taliban. Malala's voice is deemed a threat to the Taliban. She spoke up for the rights of children to have an education and a childhood. She had visions that adults did not. However, the Taliban saw a schoolgirl's death as desirable and justifiable. This is evidence of both the Taliban's brutality and her courage. As an 11-year-old, she wrote a blog for the BBC about her experiences in Pakistan, and was also the focus of documentaries by the New York Times. This was an astonishing feat of courage and fortitude for a young girl living in Pakistan, in close proximity to the Taliban. This brings us to the second aspect of Malala's character that inspired many throughout the world, her fortitude and her strength in dealing with the injury of the hands of the Taliban terrorists. In the days immediately following her attempted assassination, she remained unconscious and in critical condition. After she became sufficiently stable, she was transported to the Queen's Elizabeth Hospital in Birmingham, England, for intensive surgery. Yet despite her ordeal, she remained faithful to her cause. When she eventually recovered, she gave a very moving speech at the United Nations. Let me share a quote with you. The saying, "The pen is mightier than the sword," was true. The extremists are afraid of books and pens. The power of education frightens them. They are afraid of women. The power of the voice of women frightens them. And that is why they killed 14 innocent medical students in the recent attack in Pakistan. That is why they are blasting schools every day. Because they were and they are afraid of change, afraid of the equality that we will bring into our society. Malala's strength has been evident in her continued stand in support of education, even after the life-threatening ordeal she suffered. She has inspired millions of people with her brave resolve and tenacity after suffering grave injuries at the hands of her evil attackers. She has become an international icon for the rights to education on the world stage, and her actions in the face of such extreme adversity have become recognized by many countries in the honorary awards that have been bestowed upon her. Imagine finishing your final exams, celebrating with your friends on the return home from school, the horror of the Taliban terrorists entering the bus with the intent to kill your classmates and you. Malala's fortitude and her courage that day and every day since has had significant impact. She has created a sustained platform by persistently advocating for the rights to education, which has energized a change movement in the support of education across the world.